Hey everyone, this is Alex with Influence LA, and this is our official AEW Wrestledream preview and predictions. That's right, the first ever AEW Wrestledream will be taking place this weekend, Sunday, October 1st, from the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. It's shaping up to be a monumental event. It's the inaugural event, as previously stated. It's to honor the late, great Antonio Inoki, who of course passed away on October 1st last year. So Tony Khan is definitely going all out for this card. We're going to have some New Japan talent on this card, as well as some Ring of Honor title defenses, along with the regular AEW title defenses that we come to know and expect at these shows. So without further ado, we're going to get right into the preview and predictions right here on our channel. So we're going to start out with the 0 hour pre-show, of course. There's going to be 2 matches on the 0 hour pre-show. That'll, of course, start at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. You guys can catch that. It'll be $49.99 for the pay-per-view on Bleacher Report, but of course the 0 hour will be free on their YouTube channel. So definitely tune in to check it out, see if it might be something you guys are interested in. Maybe you end up wanting to watch the pay-per-view after you check out a little bit of the 0 hour pre-show, and maybe they hype up some of the matches. But getting into it, so the first pre-show match we have here, it's going to be the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn defending their AEW Trios Championships against TMDK. And we're not going to spend too much time on this one, guys. This match just kind of got announced last minute. They're just trying to, fill a little bit of the pre-show with some action for the fans there. Obviously, the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn are going to retain here. No need to really spend too much time on that. It will be curious to see if they maybe set up their future opponent or where we're going from there. But we'll have to tune in and wait and see there. But yeah, the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn are definitely going to retain the AEW Trios Championships here. And then moving on, we're going to have the second pre-show match, which is going to be Luchasaurus versus Nick Wayne. This, of course, comes from both of them being banned from ringside for what is presumed to be the main event of the night, which is going to be Christian Cage versus Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. But again, these two will be banned from ringside. Of course, Nick Wayne is normally in Darby's corner. We'll have Luchasaurus normally in Christian Cage's corner, but instead they're going to actually battle it out on the pre-show. Nothing to really too much to dive into here. Obviously, this is probably just going to be an easy squash match for Luchasaurus. That's at least what we're expecting. So yeah, Luchasaurus should get the win here. And then, so moving off of the pre-show, this is going to be moving into the main pay-per-view show. This will be a 5 p.m. start time, Westerns, 8 p.m. Eastern. This is, again, Bleacher Report, $49.99 for the event. Definitely tune in, guys. Definitely buy the event. This is going to be one hell of a card. Again, Tony Khan was going all out for the event. Antonio Inoki was a huge, huge hero and idol of his. This event is centered around honoring his legacy and bringing forward the future dreamers of pro wrestling. So this one's definitely going to be one to get excited for. And then as we get through these matches, you're definitely going to see what all the hype's about as you start to listen to what we could potentially expect for some of these matches. And of course, the big surprise everyone's anticipating, which we're going to get into when we go over Christian Cage and Darby's match later. But yeah, guys, getting into it, we're going to dive right into the main card. And starting out on the main card, we're going to have Hangman Adam Page opening up against Swerve Strickland. Of course, this match has been built up very nicely over the last couple of weeks. Basically, it's built on the idea that Swerve Strickland is coming for Hangman Adam Page's spot on the card. He feels that Hangman Page has gotten lazy and complacent, and Swerve Strickland wants to take that spot from him. Of course, Swerve Strickland is from Seattle, so this is going to be a huge hometown welcoming from him. He's going to probably get a huge hero hometown welcoming reception. He's probably going to end up being the unofficial babyface of the match, when normally Page is kind of like the fan favorite. So that'll be an interesting dynamic to watch play out. But the way this match has been built up and the way we just think it should go, we're going to end up picking Swerve Strickland to win. We think Swerve Strickland needs this win way more than Hangman Adam Page at this point. Swerve needs a win to solidify himself as an actual credible challenger in any capacity, whether it be mid-card or upper-card, because he's just taking too many big-time L's and too many big-time spots this year. So moving forward, we're going to have Swerve Strickland going over Hangman Adam Page in the opener. That's at least our prediction. And we're opening that the pay-per-view with it, because we do feel that it's more of a bigger moment for Swerve Strickland to come out to the hometown fan. The reception's going to be great. It'll be a great visual. And with Prince Nana's dancing, it's going to be just like what the song says, catch a vibe. So we're going to go with Swerve Strickland over Hangman Adam Page in the opener. And then moving on, we would think that the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros versus the Guns versus Orange Cassidy and Hook would be the next match. Of course, this is going to be a fatal four-way that will determine the #1 contender for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. If we had to pick one right off the jump, we're going to go with the Young Bucks, just because we feel that the Young Bucks and FTR's rivalry does have to start to heat up a little bit and get resolved by the end of the year. Plus, with Full Gear coming up in Los Angeles, it just seems like an opportune time to have the Young Bucks step up and build a program with FTR. That way, they can challenge for the World Tag Team Championships in front of their friends and family in their home of California. So we're going to go with the Young Bucks to win this, but look out for Orange Cassidy and Hook. They can be a definitely sleeper pick to win this match, especially because they're just a popular pairing in general. But if we're going for the long-term storyline and in the immediate future, we're thinking the Young Bucks need the win here. So we're going to go with the Young Bucks winning. And moving on to the next match, this is going to be where we bring in the Ring of Honor Championships for the defense, as we're going to have Eddie Kingston defending the Ring of Honor World Championship along with his New Japan Strong Openweight Championship against Kazuchika Shibata. This should definitely be a good hard-hitting affair between these two guys. They're all about the physicality, the strong style from New Japan. If we had to pick right off the jump, we're just going to go with Eddie Kingston. It's the easiest one. There's not too much story here. It's more or less just about a respect thing between the two. That's why Eddie's also putting up his secondary championship as well. But we don't see Eddie Kingston losing, especially after winning it so recently. So we're going to go with Eddie Kingston winning this match. And then moving on to the next match, this will be where the other Ring of Honor Tag Team or Ring of Honor Championship is defended, as it'll be the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships, which would normally be defended by both Adam Cole and MJF. However, with Adam Cole's injury that he updated us with on last week's Dynamite, we are looking, unfortunately, at MJF taking on The Righteous in a 2-on-1 handicap match. However, we do not think this will be the end of the reign for MJF and Adam Cole as Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. In fact, it may even just play into the storyline more, as eventually this may end up building up to MJF having to take on the Kingdom by himself at some point in a similar situation. And I think that's where MJF will lose the championships. But going into this match against The Righteous, MJF is going to retain, and he will come out of this as the Ring of Honor World Champion, or Ring of Honor Tag Team World Champion, along with Adam Cole, at least for the foreseeable future. And then moving on to the next match on the card, this is would be where we would put Ricky Starks versus the Wheeler Yuta match. Again, this is just was kind of thrown together to have Ricky Starks have an opponent for the show. Honestly, looking at it with Jon Moxley's injury that happened at Grand Slam, we could have potentially seen Ricky Starks versus Jon Moxley for the AEW International Championship at this show. But of course, with Moxley's injury and then the title change going over to Rey Fenix, that was potentially scrapped. Again, we don't have confirmation on that. That's just something that we assume was the plan. But Ricky Starks, Wheeler Yuta, still not a bad pairing. Obviously, Wheeler Yuta is the guy to take the pinfall here. So we're gonna go with Ricky Starks to get the huge win on pay-per-view. Finally, he gets a big-time win against one of the Blackpool Combat Club guys. And this will hopefully help him build his momentum to wherever he goes next, whether he ends up still going against Bryan Danielson or wherever they're moving him on to, with maybe like a rehashing of a feud with MJF. But it would be interesting to see Ricky Starks, and depending on when his contract's up, we may end up seeing him get built up to in a contract program where his contract's expiring, and then they build up that into the storyline. That could be very, very enticing for Ricky Starks. So we'll see how that all plays out. And then, guys, moving on, this will be where we have the AEW World Tag Team Championships, as FTR will be defending against Aussie Open. This, of course, is a huge rematch, 1 year to the date from their match last year that just blew everyone away. So this is definitely going to be a big-time matchup, and as much as we want to pick Aussie Open to win, FTR is going to retain. As we stated previously, FTR versus Young Bucks, that's the matchup, that's the feud to keep making happen. And we feel that that's going to be the culmination match at Full Gear. It'll be the FTR versus the Young Bucks for the World Tag Team Championships. So Aussie Open is going to put up an amazing fight tomorrow. It's going to be a 5-star classic. Probably the one match that everyone outside of pro wrestling, you know, the casuals and whatnot, they end up hearing about it. It's going to sweep the web. Everyone's going to be hyped on it. But at the end of the day, we do feel that FTR is going to come out on top and still the AEW World Tag Team Champs. And then moving on to the next matchup, guys, this would be where we would have Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi teaming up to take on the Don Callis family, which consists of Sammy Guevara, Takeshita, and Will Ospreay. So Will Ospreay is technically not officially a part of the Don Callis family, but he is the best professional wrestler in the world. So we're going to give him the edge probably in this match. And also for the simple fact that the storylines can go in multiple different directions with Don Callis, Kenny Omega, Jericho, Guevara, Takeshita Omega. But the whole point that's been building to this is Omega keeps eating pinfalls and can't get a win without the help of Don Callas. So we think if you want to keep that going, you have Kenny eat another pinfall here, potentially to Sammy Guevara, which would do huge wonders for him on pay-per-view, and it would build like kind of maybe a questioning dynamic in Omega's head, as well as maybe some self-doubt in Jericho's head if he can actually even take down Sammy Guevara. So that would be an interesting way to play it. We'll see if that ends up happening, but we're going to end up picking the Don Callis family to beat Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi. And then moving on, guys, to the next matchup. This would be where we would book the dream match. Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. one-on-one. This, of course, is something that Bryan Danielson has wanted for a long time. Zack Sabre Jr. has wanted it for a long time. It's finally happening. Bryan Danielson's hometown. Hopefully he comes out to the final countdown. It's going to be a spectacle. Of course, this is his last year in pro wrestling, is at least that's what it looks like, with his daughter turning 7 next year and him saying it's time for him to step away. But if we're getting this year started out right, we're going with a win for Bryan Danielson. He is going to defeat Zack Sabre Jr. and prove that he is the best technical wrestler on the planet. And in our idea and vision, long-term booking, we would have Bryan Danielson continue this trend of defeating the world's top wrestlers. And eventually this leads to Will Ospreay either in Full Gear in November or AEW Revolution in March next year. So yeah, Bryan Danielson gets the huge win over Zack Sabre Jr. in our opinion at Wrestledream. So we'll have to wait and see if that ends up being the case, but that match is for sure going to be a banger. So don't miss out on that one. You're going to end up seeing the highlights all over YouTube afterwards. It's going to be a great hard-hitting affair, real technical prowess demonstrated by the two athletes. But again, Bryan Danielson should be the one getting the win there. And then moving on to the TBS Championship. This will be Kris Statlander defending her championship against the undefeated Julia Hart. Julia Hart is undefeated in the year of 2023. That's a very interesting point, as she has picked up a lot more matches and a lot more match activity over the past couple months. If you didn't know better, you would actually probably think Julia Hart might end up pulling this out. And if we look back at the rest of the card, there haven't been too many title changes. And so this would be where we would actually potentially book Julia Hart to go over Kris Statlander, realistically. But here's the big kicker. Kris Statlander got the win over Jade Cargill. And of course, as you guys saw the wrestling news over the week, Jade Cargill signed with WWE. So they put all that stock investment and time into Jade Cargill and then gave that rub of defeating her to Kris Statlander. So would it realistically be time to already take all that momentum from Kris Statlander off and apply it to Julia Hart? In our opinion, it wouldn't actually be the worst idea. It's just one of those, it's so tough, you know, with calling it in the wrestling. And actually in this moment, we're really trying to think, you know what though, we're going to go out on a limb. We're going to say Julia Hart will pull the massive upset tomorrow, maybe some shenanigans with the House of Black helping out too. And that'll set up maybe a continuation of a feud or a new feud with the Best Friends. So we're going to go with Julia Hart to win the TBS Championship and shock everyone tomorrow. And then guys, that'll just leave one match on the card. We're transitioning into our main event. And of course, this will be what all the eyes are on, because why is it main eventing? Well, we're going to get into it, as this will be the TNT Championship. Christian Cage defending against Darby Allin in a 2 out of 3 falls match with Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne banned from ringside. The big kicker here is, okay, banned from ringside, those two. But who isn't banned from ringside? The man whose contract has reportedly ended at the end of September, which means he is clear to show up at any promotion starting August 1st. And that is, of course, the rated R superstar, Adam Copeland himself, Edge. That is right, guys. Edge is most likely set to debut tomorrow, whenever you guys see this video, at Wrestledream. It's going to be a huge monumental moment. You guys are not going to want to miss out on this. It's just a matter of how they do it, whether he gets involved in the actual matchup in the third fall, or if they bring him out after the matchup's completely wrapped up. Either way, guys, we fully expect Edge, Adam Copeland himself, to be fully signed, sealed, and delivered to AEW and make his huge monumental debut tomorrow in Seattle. As Tony Khan has been touting, it'll be a new start of a new era in AEW, and we don't see any other way that can happen but without bringing in some new stars. And Edge is definitely fitting that bill. So hopefully the rumors are true. We get to actually see the rated R superstar in AEW, potentially helping out his best friend Christian, who is doing some of the best work of his entire career. You get them paired up for the next couple of months, and potentially have them go against Sting and Darby in a feud, maybe culminating in Full Gear, potentially giving Darby and Sting their first loss in a tag team. Because, you know, you're questioning it like, oh, who can actually beat Sting? Who would you book to beat Sting? The team of Edge and Christian, with all their legendary status, all their accolades they've accumulated over the years, how do you not book someone like them to maybe have that first defeat on Sting's AEW career? So this is just more, you know, this is us booking long-term guys. Again, tomorrow night, Christian, Darby Allin. Edge is showing up. He's going to either help Christian or show up after to maybe aid Christian. We don't exactly know how it's going to play out, but expect Edge to show up tomorrow at Wrestledream. It's going to be awesome. And if he doesn't, well, hey, man, at the end of the day, he's still coming. Most likely maybe like a Dynamite or Full Gear, but we're going with Wrestledream. Just everything points to it. The lead singer from Alter Bridge is from Seattle. Pearl Jam's from Seattle. Edge is a huge Pearl Jam head. So yeah, guys, definitely should be a very, very exciting card, an exciting lineup all around. The show is going to be phenomenal. Definitely recommend checking it out. Again, it's going to kick off at 5 p.m. Western time, 8 p.m. Eastern. Bleacher Report, $49.99 will get you access to it. Drop down any thoughts and comments you guys might have down below on any matchups or how you think the matchup's going to play out. Any surprises you guys expect to see? Do you guys maybe expect, maybe not Edge, but maybe a Mercedes Moné, or maybe one of the previous released WWE superstars? You never know who might show up. Be sure to leave a like on this video if you guys enjoyed it. We really appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel so you can follow us and don't miss out on any future wrestling related videos. And yeah, guys, that's about it. So enjoy Wrestledream, and we'll be back next week. All right.